So our first poem is Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across the screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. The tigers in the panels that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. Okay, so the first thing to note is the poem was written by Rich when she was 21. And the tigers are seen as powerful and they're presumed to be male. Now I'll take a screenshot of the notes in a while, so you'll be able to write in the notes yourself. Now we're just going to, basically these notes will help you exactly understand what the poem is about. So Aunt Jennifer's Tigers is one of her early poems. She wrote it while she was still a student at Radcliffe College, and it was published in 1959 as part of her A Change of World poetry collection. While Rich would later come to reject traditional poetic stanzas consisting of two rhyming couplets, the rhyming scheme AABBCCDDEEFF gives the poem a brisk pace and a jaunty air, which suits the subject matter of the vivid embroidered tigers on a colourful screen. Now, Rich did not have an aunt called Jennifer, so we can assume that this aunt is intended to represent a particular type of woman, or perhaps any woman living in a certain kind of life. The first line is joyous and confident. The verb prancing connotes vitality and confidence. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across the screen. The vivid green and yellow colouring is cheerful and happy. Bright topaz denizens of a world of green. The poet tells us the tigers do not fear the men beneath the tree. And this line suggests that Aunt Jennifer herself may be fearful of someone or something. It also makes us wonder who the men beneath the trees are, and why do the tigers not fear them? Have the men done something to earn the tigers' trust, or do the tigers simply not realise the men might be a threat? Having told us that these proud tigers prance, Rich now adds more suggestions of confidence, courage and elegance. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. The first stanza is a colourful portrait of a beautiful tapestry. We have not met the artist yet, but we might assume that someone who created such a bold and brave piece might be herself a tiger. In stanza 2, our expectations are defeated. Aunt Jennifer lacks the confident, energetic and fearless character of the tigers. Aunt Jennifer's fingers, fluttering through her wool, find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The verb fluttering is emphasised with alliteration. Here, it means that Aunt Jennifer's fingers are trembling. We often use the term fluttering to describe feelings of intense emotion or anxiety. So the verb also suggests that Aunt Jennifer is emotional and upset. The needle is ivory, which means it has been made from tusks or bones. So violence and death have been involved somewhere along its journey. Aunt Jennifer is clearly exhausted and drained. In lines 5 and 6, we learn what the burden that is pressing down on her is. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's wedding ring band. A wedding ring is not heavy. It is so light that you do not notice that you are wearing it, but the weight of the ring is immense, with the adjective massive and the adverb heavily emphasising how crushed Aunt Jennifer feels. As the wedding itself cannot be what is causing her this kind of pain, It leads us to believe that it is the marriage itself that is unhappy. The uncle is not given a name, almost making it seem as if the name is irrelevant, and the only significant thing is his male gender. Rich is critical of marriage, both as a patriarchal institution and as an instrument of oppression. The last stanza makes an abrupt departure. Having hinted about Aunt Jennifer's unhappiness, Rich now tells us outright that this was a miserable, oppressive, and perhaps even violent relationship. And she gives the quote, "When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by." The image of Aunt Jennifer's terrified hands is disturbing. The noun ordeals makes us think of difficult experiences, while the verb mastered, which in this context means controlled, makes us think of master and male oppression of women. There was no escape for Aunt Jennifer in life, and there is none even in death, where she continues to wear the wedding band as a symbol of the oppression she suffered. However, the art that she has made will live on after her. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. People who look at the panel will probably presume the artist was as happy, confident and colourful as the tigers she portrayed. This adds another level to this poem. Rich is also exploring the relationship between an artist and their art, and showing that art is not necessarily representative of the artist. Art can mislead us into thinking we know the person who created it, when we seldom really do. So basically, anyone that looks at the tapestry that Jennifer that she made would think she was very happy and that she didn't have many problems in her life. Here was this beautiful piece of art, tigers, so colourful, so powerful, so happy. Why would the person who made it be unhappy? But she's basically allowing us to understand that just because something that's made, or a picture or a painting, is perfect, doesn't mean the life of the person who made it is as well. So basically, we see here from even her first poem that, okay, Aunt Jennifer wasn't Adrienne Rich's aunt. She didn't have an aunt called Jennifer. So basically, she's already, even at 21, seeing marriage as something that's not good. Now, she may have known someone that was in a similar situation that was married. We don't know. But basically, we know even at that age, she didn't see marriage as this happy, everlasting event. She realised that there were women in marriages who were going through terrible times. Their marriages were very difficult. The husband may have been abusive, violent, all those kind of things, that there's so many women in that situation. And that's what she's looking at in this poem. Now, just the important thing there, the screen, what is it? It's an embroidered tapestry. It's placed in front of an open fireplace in summer. So basically, the person then in the house, probably more than likely at the time, it was the woman, made this tapestry herself. And it just stand in front of the open fireplace. Because obviously in summer you're not lighting fires. You don't want people to see this empty grate. So you put your tapestry in front of it. Topaz then is dark yellow. Denizens, inhabitants, chivalric, courageous, dignified and honourable. So just the notes there. The aunt and uncle are fictional, but this does not lessen the impact of the poem, because of course we all know that maybe Jennifer didn't exist, but how many Jennifers exist in the world, even in 1921, even today. Aunt Jennifer uses the tigers to express her belief of what an ideal marriage as well as an ideal man should be, because she does say the tigers are happy, they prance across the screen. They're confident. They might even be a little bit arrogant. They don't fear the men beneath the tree. They're not afraid of their men. They're confident in front of them. They're happy. That's what she pictures a good marriage to be. So she's using the tigers to show what a perfect marriage would be. Now I'm going to take a screenshot as well of the notes. So if you have your poem in front of you, you can write them in for revision purposes, etc. Also, don't worry about, I know I read that very fast, the notes. That was just to give you a good understanding of the poem. I will be sending on the notes that I've done out on all of the poems once we're finished. Okay? So we're going to look at Aunt Jennifer's Tigers today and the notes, and then we'll move on Tuesday. It's an easy poem once you understand the main theme of it, the oppressiveness of marriage, the unhappiness that some women feel, the fact that she used the beauty of the tapestry to compare a perfect marriage to this Aunt Jennifer, where the weight of the wedding ring on her finger represented the weight of unhappiness around her because of her marriage. And then also in the final stanza, we're looking at how artists can create something so beautiful, something that looks so perfect, but that doesn't mean that their lives are perfect. So there's kind of another option there as well. But basically what you need to focus on here is the comparison of the tigers and their happiness and their pride to Aunt Jennifer and the lack of pride she had in her life and in her marriage.